Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for UFC Vegas 43 on SookyMMA, and after flying to the moon and back at 24-2 on the pay-per-views, we go a measly 6-5 on our standards for UFC Vegas 42. But we got to see Max Holloway back. We got dummied on the Super Saiyan pick with the coming up party for Alvarez there. So overall, 356, 208 and 5, 106, 46 and 2 on our last 13 UFC cards. 43, 15 and 1 on our last 10 UFC main cards. And obviously Super Saiyan pick, as we said, takes a hit. 14 and 8 overall, 8 and 3 in our last 11. And we get UFC Vegas 43 up next, and Luana Pinheiro, Sam Hughes. Quick look at it. I think the line's going to be about minus 200 for Luana. Sam Hughes has a lot of success late in the fight. I think that that's where we don't know what we can see from Luana. And Sam Hughes actually stole a round in the third round from Loma Lookboonmee and even looked pretty good against a Vanessa Dopoulos in an LFA title fight until she lost it in the fourth round. So for me, I'm actually leaning Sam Hughes despite thinking Vegas is going to give Luana a good minus 200 line here. So let's take a look. Minus 225 opener, now as high as minus 400. Sam Hughes is a plus 190 opener, now at plus 300. I'm laying that, boys. Hop on board if you want. Live is the best way to say it. Sean Soriano and Shayla Nordbeck. Now, Sean Soriano is going to be the better striker here. I think he's going to be an elite boxer. I think he can avoid the ground and keep opponents off of his back. He should find some more success. Sanford MMA product, I think that's what he's going to be working on just to become a better fighter overall. And in this fight, he should be able to showcase some of that striking. So I'm going with Sean Soriano here as a minus 115, minus 120. I think it makes the most sense. He should be able to avoid that groundwork. So let's take a look. Wow, Sean Soriano, minus 225, now as high as minus 285. Shailan coming in as a plus 190, now as high as plus 245. Cody Durden and Aorique Lang. Now, I actually like Cody Durden in this fight. Talk about taking Chris Gutierrez to the point of a draw. Getting caught by a flying triangle with now retired Jimmy Flick is not so bad either, but you look at the way Aorique lost to Molina, I think that that's going to be a fight where the technical striker won, and I think Cody Durden's wrestling, his ability to push forward and take an absolute beating is going to be what wins in this fight. So let's go Durden at minus 120. I think that's a fair line. Durden minus 145, now sitting at minus 165. Aori opened as a plus 125, now as high as a plus 140. This is the diehard fights, right? Fred Ziab and Terence Mckinney. Now I think Terence McKinney is going to get a lot of bump, but at the same time, you're seeing the results of a lot of banter. Everyone knows he's a great first-round fighter, but, Sean Woodson caught him fair and square on the Dana White Contender Series, and I think a lot of people are basing his current fighting style on that. Now, Ziam's going to be the much better technical striker, in my opinion, especially over 3 rounds. He's got good UFC experience under his belt, but that last round against Vendramini was very questionable. I think he got a little bit tired out. He was taking a lot more damage. Vendramini turned it up late, and so in this case, it's like I almost see both these guys getting tired. Maybe there's some value on taking the over 1.5, 2.5 in this fight, because if Terence McKinney can't finish him in the first round, it seems like Ferzian might have a chance in the second, but he kind of gets tired too, doesn't really showcase too much power, so we could be just looking at a 3-round grinding striker fight. And so in my opinion, this is a pick'em, and I may give Ziam a minus 125 bump just for the technical side and having some good experience under his belt. Let's take a look. I mean, that's a pick'em. I don't even care to go over the lines. It's within 5 points at minus 115, both opening at the same time. And next up, we got Loma Lookboonmee and Lupita Godinez. Now, I think this is going to surprise a lot of people, but I like Loma a lot in this fight. The reason why is Lupita kind of exposed herself in the Carolina fight. Short notice, I get it. Now, 3 fights in less than 50 days, I get it. But working with Grasso kind of tells you that she needs to improve on the striking, right? I think Loma is already very high up there. She showcased a little bit of her judo against Sam Hughes, but I think this is a fight where Lupita's really going to use that crazy, push forward to try and get the fight to the ground. But if you can do your best Jessica Penne impression with Loma Lookboonmee striking, I mean, there's an opportunity there to suggest that Loma has a really good chance at winning this. So I'm going Loma minus 140. Makes the most sense here. And there, wow, pick'em opener. Now Loma's high as a plus 145 dog. I'll be laying that and taking her in my pick'em, that's for sure. Lupita minus 160, minus 170 in some place. Wow. Hot for Garcia, Nate Levy. Not to want to spend too much time on this one. Levy coming off his third round submission on the Dana White Contender Series. Garcia's been in there already now with a Chris Grutzmacher and debut against Nasrat Haqparas in the UFC. I mean, that speaks volumes. He looks good as a striker. Even in the loss to Chris, he actually had a lot of good action in that fight. So I think he's going to be able to deal with a lot of the damage here and be the much better striker. So I'm going off as a minus 200 in this one. Wow, this is a Pick'em Live, and it opened as Garcia's actually a plus 115 dog. So I like Garcia in that fight for sure, and this goes into one of my main events. Tucker Lutz, Pat Sabatini. I can tell you off the bat, I'm picking Pat Sabatini to win this. I'm a Philly boy fighter lover. I mean, the Paul Felders, the Sean Brady's, the Pat Sabatinis all started with the Bernard Hopkinses of the world, and so I'm going to be flying high with this guy. I think he's got the heart to do it, and I mean, I watched him in an LFA title fight basically beg the referee to let him keep fighting while his arm is literally dangling like a piece of rubber. So I think this guy's going to be able to do pretty good damage on the feet, and even those surprise heel hooks that he's pulling off at the UFC level, these are the things that Tucker Lutz has to look out for, despite the good boxing and the clinch and even the good wrestling. I think the cardio is going to be something we're going to look out for as well. So Lutz is a minus 115 with the recency bias and some of the things that I've been hearing about people really liking his style. Wow, plus 130 opener for Lutz, but yeah, he's a minus 119 favorite. Sabatini, look at this, minus 150 opener, now close to a dog. Give me that, I love it. Now into the main card, Adrian Yanez, Davey Grant. We hit hard with that Jonathan Martinez finish. We took him to finish that fight. And Adrian Yanez, right, stand-up style boxer with elite finishing ability over 3 rounds. I think he takes a little bit of damage, though, and I think Grant's ability to not get finished on the feet could spell for another fight where people just expect this to end so quickly, but it could go to a pretty grueling 3-round decision. I think that Grant's ability on the ground could be tested here because he might not want to stand with Yanez the whole fight, and Yanez is going to have to maybe showcase some of his, takedown defense to really keep this fight in the areas that he loves. But we're going Adrian Yanez with a minus 160. The hype is real, and just based on where Davey Grant just fought against a guy like Vieira, it tells you where these guys are kind of putting themselves in terms of the UFC picture, with Vieira now hitting those title picture type fights. So Adrian Yanez, wow, minus 260, over 100-point difference, now minus 300, with Grant coming in at plus 250 live. Plus 200 opener, so not too much difference there. Kang and Yaya. I mean, Yaya, we know he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter. I think that the cardio will always be a factor here, but Kang, if he can use the wrestling, keep the fight standing, and use the striking to grind out a 3-round fight, I think that's a pretty good possibility. He's only lost via sub once in 3 decisions, or his only losses, so I like Kang at minus 145, but I think a sprinkle on Yaya to finish by submission isn't such a bad idea. Wow, man, these lines are hella close for most of these fights. Plus 110 opener for Kang, but now as high as a minus 120. And Yaya, minus 130 opener, now as low as a minus 103 in some places. Wood and Santos. Now, I love Santos because as her athletic ability is getting better, her skills as a UFC and MMA fighter are getting better. She's looked better and better in every fight. And with Wood, it's always about pace, right? I think if you have to match her pace, she ends up looking really, really good against you. But if you're a fighter that keeps pushing forward, keeps throwing volume strikes, we've got Chukagi and Jennifer Maia, Cynthia Calvillo, Jessica Andrade. They all found pretty good success against Calderwood, and I think it's because they push a much faster pace, and I think Santos will do that as well. So I got Santos here as a minus 160, maybe closer to minus 200. I think she deserves to be a pretty big favorite here. So let's take a look. Wow, plus 220 Calderwood, now as high as plus 300, or Wood. And Taylor Santos, minus 375, as high as minus 140. Pretty crazy. Brady and Chiesa. Now, this is an interesting one. So, Brady, Philly fighter we've been talking about. I think he's the 2.0 version of these Magny Chiesa style fighters. He's got the grappling. He can roll around with you for 3 rounds if he wants, but the striking is there. The timing of the shots is my favorite part of his game. There's a pretty good highlight reel already, and the diehard's been waiting for him to get over his health issues and get back in there, and he's looking really good. Chiesa looked great against Neil Magny, but the Luque loss, most underrated fighter in the UFC, in my opinion. I think that he's shown the Chiesa at full potential that we've expected for so long, but I think Sean Brady's the 2.0 version of that. I think the striking is going to be a difference here. I think that the boxing in close range will be, kind of the Tyson look for him in this one, if he can do some real good damage and keep the fight on the ground in areas where he likes it. I like Brady's a minus 145 here. Wow, minus 150 opener, now as high as minus 175, with Chiesa a plus 110. Sorry, it's a plus 120 opener, now as high as plus 150. main event time. Now, I think Ketlen Vieira is going to get too much bump for her striking. You know, she had that 4-0 start as a UFC fighter, but the Yana Kunitskaya wins. I mean, I think the book is out on her. Avoid the clinch areas, avoid getting taken down, and you probably have a good chance to, you know, get a win against Yana, and that's exactly what Ketlen Vieira did. But Miesha Tate is getting much better as a technical striker. She's going to be able to do a lot more damage on the feet, and if this fight goes past 3 rounds, I think it's all Tate. I just don't see any reason for Vieira to be anyone of a favorite after that point, because I think she's wild. I think she can get tired, and I think that Tate's always ready to take damage and will wait for her opportunities, whether it be on the ground and now on the feet. So there's just a huge difference here. And you look at the numbers, 36% accuracy for Ketlen Vieira with 3.84 absorbed and 2.66 landed. I mean, there's a huge discrepancy there. And so for me, I mean, I can see this fight pretty close to a pick'em, but I actually want to give Tate the bump here as a -150. I think that she deserves it, but there's that idea of, you know, the lengthy layoff and the more activity from Vieira. So let's go with a pick'em just to see. Wow, this open is a minus. Wow, if you caught Miesha Tate as a +140, that's so much value. It is a pick'em right now with Ketlen Vieira as a -160 favorite opener. Good Lord, I think Tate's got that one in the bag unless she lets herself, you know, get responsible early, or she actually gets overpowered on the ground and can't find an answer, but I just don't see that happening. So let's see how this all plays out. Picks are posted. This is live during the fights towards the start of it. Let's get it going. Hit the follow button, hit subscribe. Happy to be doing it. We got a 2-week break to get our shit really going to end off the year on a big note, and can't wait. So let's get excited. Peace.